There have been reports of military exercise ramp-ups by Belarus on Ukraine's border. Oh, Harris, have you heard about this? Russia has
No.
used Belarusian airspace for drone and missile attacks, but do you see Belarus actually invading Ukraine too? Well, okay. Also, what is these right-wing dictatorships in Europe? Belarus's Lukashenko followed Putin's lead in making himself a permanent figure in the country. And do you think more countries will follow this path, or are they outliers?
I think. Do you want to go first?
No, you go ahead. I've been
Well,
speaking.
I think Lukashenko is the only Putin ally left there. Like, I mean, all the three, Lithuanian, Estonia, and well, what are those three countries? Those Baltic countries. Yeah, they're against Russia. They're obviously part of NATO. Lukashenko is a Putin's puppet, and there have been mass scale protests in Belarus as well, and they're not happy with Lukashenko. They also, it seems like, it's the same thing before Maidan Revolution, what happened in Ukraine in 2014. Same thing is brewing in Belarus as well. So here's a problem. I've been listening to it. I didn't know about this Putin using Belarusian airspace, but I'm not surprised. But the next question everyone's been asking, because Putin has gone through conscription now, they're still dying. The tide of war hasn't changed. So what's going to happen? Putin constantly needs this manpower. He needs these soldiers. Now, there's unrest growing in Russia. So what's going to happen? Where is it going to go? But Lukashenko is also treading on thin ice, because if he goes and if he starts using Belarusian soldiers and he orders them to go into Ukraine, then he's already semi-popular, is half unpopular. So it's going to cause more unrest in Belarus. So Putin also understands that if there is another revolution in Belarus, then Lukashenko will have to run back to Russia as well. So he's going to lose Belarus as well. So I don't think so. But again, Putin, if he's desperate, he wouldn't give two F's about Lukashenko. So he would force him to use the Belarusian army. So I reckon, obviously, things are just going from bad to worse for Putin. So he might force him as a last resort.
He can't force him. How does he force him?
Well, because he's his puppet.
No, but they were fighting before. Like Belarus. Huh?
No, they didn't go full blown in. They used Belarusian space, and they actually launched an invasion into Ukraine through there.
I know, but I'm saying Lukashenko and Putin have been friends and enemies from time to time, right?
No, but at this stage they've been friends. At this stage they're friends.
I know they're friends, but I'm just saying Lukashenko has some leverage sometimes that he plays with Putin, like historically. So it's not like he's completely Putin's puppet. Like, but the plan was for Belarus and Russia for one day to merge together, right? Did you know? Yeah, did you know that? Yeah. But there was a time when Lukashenko came out and said, like, got angry with Putin over something, and they were like, "No, we're not Russian. We have our own identity." And now they're back at friends with each other. But I'm just saying it's not easy for Putin to completely have a control over, given their history, especially now, because Putin is, given that Lukashenko stood up to Putin before, but Putin was stronger. I think now it's going to be easier for him to stand up to Putin.
Well, look, I mean, you're right at the end of the day, because yes, he would need to make a choice, because it would not be that decision would not go down easily with Belarusians. So they would not be happy, and this is why Belarus hasn't actually directly been involved yet.
Yes.
So yeah, you're right. It is possible that he might say, well, Putin is losing. I'm not going to lose my neck over it. But the problem is, yeah, you're right. Yeah, it could probably happen. But that's the analysis that I heard. And it kind of makes sense that if Putin, but Putin being desperate, he would actually roll the dice, and he would say, no, you know what? I need your soldiers.
Yeah, but these days it's easier to tell Putin to go F himself.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but would he do it? Because then his seat, then he may also not remain in power in Belarus, because he's not really that popular.
Yeah.
There could be a revolution as well. So yeah, I know. It's
Well, I mean, the
tricky.
people
It's
of
tricky.
Belarus, I think they don't want to get involved in Ukraine.
They don't want to
right?
get involved. Yeah, they don't want to get involved.
So
They
given that
protested.
his seat is so that means that if he cares about his power, then he wouldn't get involved. But Dornabhout has a good point. He says even if there won't be an attack, it could be a fixing tactic to force troops to stay fixed at the border
Yeah.
in large numbers. Okay.
Well, Zelensky has been saying for months now that Belarusian soldiers are going to invade us. So obviously that hasn't happened yet. But I think you made a good point that it is easier to say F off to Putin, and because that decision would not be very popular amongst Belarusian people, so they might say, well, you know what, Putin, I'm sorry, I'm not going to lose my neck over you.
Yes, exactly. Get my best-selling book, Why There Is No God, for free. Click on the link for it in the description.